everyone, Stephanie here asking you to hear me out. So today we're talking with Chantel MacDonald, but before I get into that, I just want to let you know that we might talk about something that might trigger you in a negative way, so I really hope you reach out to your supports if that does happen. You know, my friends at Aegis Health Group and I, we believe that in order to dispel the stigma, we have to talk about it. And we're all about creating safe spaces for our friends going through the recovery journey, and that's what we're trying to do today. So let's get to it. Hi Chantel, how's it going?
Hi Steph, good. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful day for an interview, right?
Gorgeous,
awesome,
gorgeous.
Awesome. So do you want to tell me a little bit about your addiction story and where you come from with that?
Sure. So I started dabbling in marijuana probably when I was about 12 years old. And my parents were avid smokers, so it was easy access, I believe. And, you know, meeting the people who I met at that age, very influential. I also remember from a very young age that I didn't like myself in my own skin. So that was a big deal. And I didn't understand why, right? Like, I'm born, I should like myself. And so that reflected onto all of my relationships. All of my relationships, I felt like they felt the same way about me as I felt about myself. So that took me into, you know, all teenage years of dabbling here and there with different types of drugs. Nothing very serious. And then I met a gentleman who I thought was the be-all, end-all. And he was good looking, so I mean, he was perfect. Mm-hmm. And then he introduced me to a whole new world that I thought I belonged in. And I really thought that that was where I belonged, was in, you know, dealing and doing and wanting and needing all the time. And then I decided I was very addicted to my boyfriend. I wasn't really addicted to drugs at that time. I was 17 when I decided myself to take myself away to Vermont to drug rehab because I was addicted to my boyfriend. Okay. And I really was like everything revolved around him, and I knew it was really, really unhealthy. When I got there, I found out I was pregnant. So that was the start of a downward spiral for me, because I knew I was not where I was supposed to be to have a child, but at the same time, I'm lost, right? I'm completely lost. So that was the start of it. Then I had my son. I was completely lost. My parents were a huge help in raising my son, huge help. So that helped, but it also hindered me staying in the addiction because they kind of enabled, even though I would hate to say that, but that's kind of what it was looking back, right? So then I met another gentleman who was going to save my life, and that didn't happen. Then we decided we were going to do cocaine all the time, and then I decided to have a daughter, and she's beautiful, and my son is gorgeous, but at the same time, it was really difficult for me to have people always saying, get clean for your kids. Why can't you get clean for your kids? And I couldn't, and that was a difficult time for me. I just couldn't. I knew I wanted to. I knew I wanted to be happy. But
so yeah. What did your recovery path look like when you finally did get into recovery? How did you do that?
Well, in 2003, I was 30 years old. On my 30th birthday, I decided to go into the House of Soccer scene in Windsor. And it was the best thing that I ever did. They gave me a toolbox, and I was there for 30 days. I finished the program, and I left feeling awesome. And then I left and went back to my home and back to my negative friends and my negative thoughts and my negative feelings, and I didn't really fix anything, but I did get clean. So I was not clean for very long. I dabbled right back again until somebody decided to give me opiates, and then I really went on a downward spiral with opiates. That was my drug of choice for the last 10 years of my using, I'm gonna say. And so 2005, I went back to the House of Soccer scene. I always say I forgot my toolbox. I'm back to pick it up. And it was good. I came out of that. I went to NA. I started doing more things, started doing more in recovery as opposed to fighting it all the time, like I'm going to do it my way. And it really was after my recovery journey. After that, I met my husband and things were good. But first 5 years of meeting my husband, I still used. We both were in addiction. He was out of addiction now. And so I used a lot. So honestly, my journey began with somebody loving me until I could love myself. 100%.
I love that. That's 100%. Truly how we get out of things like this.
Right?
We need to be loved because we don't love ourselves.
At all.
It goes back to a lot of the other videos I was talking about, that self-hate that we have.
Yes.
It's huge, and it's such a motivating factor when it comes into this. So what was your experience like at House of Soccer? What did you find their program was like for you?
Oh, it was great. They had great counselors, awesome people that you could relate to. I just love the House of Soccer scene. It was like a place of peace, right? Like even if I didn't know myself, I could just for a little while. Not my kids, not my husband, or not my husband, my boyfriend, not where I lived, you know, oh my God, I have to pay rent, none of that, right? I got to have 30 days, 21 actually, of just pure Chantel time. And the first time I went in, I used the phone. The second time I went in, I did not use the phone. And I think that helped a lot. Staying away from those people and, you know, like just kind of being with myself, even though I hated every second of it. It was something I had to do, right?
So what does your life look like now that you're in recovery?
My life is good. So I'm 11 years sober.
Way to go.
Thank you. But life is good. I went on methadone in 2010. I got married on methadone, and nobody knew. Kudos that I think nobody knew. Probably everyone knew, but nobody knew, and I kind of wanted to keep it to myself because I feel like at that point it became like you know, more about myself and less about pleasing my mom, pleasing my dad, pleasing my kids, pleasing my boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like it just became more about me, and that was a really selfish time.
So what are some things you use now to like manage those triggers? Because as addiction is a lifelong thing for all of us, we have to figure out ways to manage those triggers when we see them. So what's something that you do?
Something that I definitely do, and something that actually has came up recently is I can't believe how quickly your brain, even after so many years, how quickly a trauma or something, not even a trauma, even a bad day, sometimes can make your brain go right back to like, I just need to get high. Like, you know, like your brain instantly does that, and you have to like play the tape through, as the House of Soccer scene taught me, which also is hard to do, right? So yoga and meditation is definitely, mindfulness and breathing and yoga and meditation has definitely brought me to a whole new level. Like I said, I got clean in 2010. I really don't think I got clean mentally until probably 2015 when I decided to walk into a hot yoga studio, Moto, and it was awesome.
Cheap shout out.
Yeah, cheap shout out. It was awesome, and the teachers were awesome, and honestly, it was an hour that you just challenged yourself. Sometimes I would lay on that mat and do nothing, but I didn't care, right? I was all by myself, and I had time. I guess in addiction, I guess it really in everyday life, you don't really stop, right, to feel what's my body feeling. Why do I have a stomach ache right now? Why does my shoulder hurt? Like, I don't know. I just find a little love in and a little love out is like amazing. And that's how I deal with triggers.
We'll have to have you come back and do some yoga with us, because I could probably use some myself. So what is something you'd say to people that are seeking recovery now?
Dream big. Like dream way big. Like big. Like a big sun in your hand big. Because man, there's so much. My life isn't perfect. My son still doesn't talk to me. You know, financially, I'm still learning how to be a financial, you know, good, not just spend my money whenever. There's a lot of things, right, that my life's not perfect, and I don't think it ever will be, but I have learned that every single day is a learning opportunity. And even if I relapse or I fail, there's a lesson in there, right? There's something telling me something, and if I just stop and breathe, it's there. It's like right there. It's amazing. It's hard to explain.
You know what? This has been an amazing conversation with you, Chantel, and thank you so much for coming out and joining this.
Thanks for having me.
Oh no, this was a lot of fun.
This was awesome.
So if you or any of your family members or friends or anybody's going through addiction and you want some help, you know, my friends at Aegis Health Group are amazing there, and you can get a hold of them at 226-946-1000. So that's it for us today. Thank you so much for checking us out, and have an awesome week.